What is up, you guys? Teller checking in for the recap of UFC Vegas 69. Now, I hope you guys are going to be digging the new format I'm going to be giving you guys as far as these recap videos go. We no longer will be doing matchmaking for the entirety of the card. Instead, we'll be doing matchmaking for the main card winners. We'll be talking more about our official plays, what plays we targeted throughout these cards. From a betting perspective, I want to go over some of that stuff more so. And then I want to go over some of the main topics coming out of these fight cards, some of the main focal points. After every weekend, there's definitely some major topics that come out of them, and I think we'll discuss some of those things. So you guys let me know what you think about the new format. You guys know I always love your feedback. All right, guys. So if you can, go check me out on all my social media. Hit that like button before we jump into today's episode. You guys know you're highly appreciated. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the show. This is the MMA fortune teller. Yeah.
The MMA fortune teller.
The teller.
So check this out real quick. I'm curious what your guys' opinions are on this matter, and I got some intel to throw your guys' way. As I'm sure a lot of you guys heard, there was 3 fighters that were removed from this upcoming Ultimate Fighter season with coaches Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler. The names of the men were Mitch Ramirez, Brandon Jenkins, and Ken Cross. A lot of you guys are familiar with some of these fighters. We've seen some of them fight in the UFC. We've seen some of them fight in Dana White's Contender Series. And, it's very unfortunate for the 3 men. It's 3 very promising fighters, very talented fighters. They were pulled. It seems that Conor McGregor wanted to make some last-minute adjustments and bring some of his buddies on the show. We've seen him do this in the past. We saw him bring on Artem Lobov. We've seen him bring on certain fighters into the UFC on certain fight cards that he was fighting on that probably weren't deserving of those opportunities. And I'm curious what your guys' opinions are on that issue. And just to throw you guys some intel, I can't go too in depth based on the timing of this right now with my source. But understand that these 3 fighters went through a lot to go on the show. Just understand that these 3 fighters, they were already doing a lot of activity preparing for the show, carrying camera equipment with them, recording some of this stuff in their daily life, wearing certain outfits that were suitable that were suitable to be aired. You guys know how that goes with advertisements and branding and all that. I mean, these guys were sacrificing a lot of, and they were already sacrificing a lot in order to prepare to be on this show. And then besides that, imagine just the giant opportunity that's in front of them that gets ripped out under their feet. I really feel for these 3 men. And, I do believe, I'm hoping that the UFC does them right and gives them some type of opportunity moving forward, because as of now, it seems that they don't have anything in front of them. They were stripped of this opportunity, and they were just kind of put to the curb. And like I said, these guys were actually doing things to prepare. They weren't compensated financially. They weren't compensated in a variety of ways, and they were doing things to prepare for the show. So what are your guys' thoughts on that? I'm curious. You guys know I'm a giant Conor McGregor fan. I'm a giant UFC fan. I'm a guy that kind of believes in the company in a variety of ways. I don't agree with everything, but I'm not one of these guys sitting in the chair that's an Ariel Helwani that's just constantly hating. But what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And I really hope that the UFC does those 3 men correctly. Again, Mitch Ramirez, Brandon Jenkins, and Ken Cross, and understand that the intel that I got is coming from a very accurate source there. Now, over to UFC Vegas 69. I'm happy to say it was another profitable event. And you guys know I threw a free play to you guys here on the channel that cashed as well. So, I feel good about that. That was the biggest play that I had on the night. It was a 5-unit play on Nazim Sadykhov. In the first fight, Clayton Carpenter went out there and handled business with ease. We all kind of felt that was going to be the situation. I really wanted to throw Clayton in a 2-team parlay, and I ended up hesitating on that. And obviously I ended up kicking myself in the ass for that. I was going to throw him with AJ Fletcher, potentially, maybe a Felipe Lins parlay. There was a couple legs I was looking to work with him, and they all would have cashed, but I didn't end up pulling the trigger on that 2-team parlay. Maybe I was a little hesitant after what just happened with the Zubara-Tukigov fight. You guys know some of my 2-team parlays have been a little bit shaky to start the year off, but that doesn't mean that I'll be stopping that method of betting, because long term, you guys know it's been very good to me. Year to year, I've profited on my 2-team parlay. So I will go back to the drawing board for some 2-teamers coming up in the near future. But I knew that Clayton's grappling was just going to be a step ahead of Ronderos, and that's exactly what it was. Same could be said with AJ Fletcher. AJ Fletcher, just a more proven athlete at this time. Themba, there was, maybe the idea that his game could have grown in the last couple years, since a lot of the tape you were able to pull up on him was dated. But if you pull up the tape that was available, there was really nothing going on there, nothing that was that intriguing. Meanwhile, AJ Fletcher, we kind of know the deal with him. He's a stud athlete, doesn't have the biggest reach, but he's a solid fighter, a well-rounded fighter, and he should have went out there and handled business like he did. Felipe Lins, this was another fight that we all were kind of keen to, right? Felipe Lins, he's been looking better and better. He's coming into his fights in better shape. Fight to fight, that's always a good sign. It seems he's taken the game a little bit more seriously. We know he's groomed himself over at American Top Team for a while. OSP, it seemed very transparent as of recently over the last couple of years that he's just showing up. He wants to show that mouthpiece. He wants to throw up his old frat sign and whatnot. The little this thing, whatever that is. You guys know what I'm talking about. And he just wants to go out there and collect a paycheck. And you know what? Nothing but respect to OSP. He's almost 40 years old. He's hitting his 40s now. He's put in that work. He's been in some big fights, and I don't blame the guy. Let the guy go in there, collect another paycheck. But I'm not so sure we're going to be seeing OSP step into the octagon again, as far as I'm concerned. Jamal Emmers goes out and takes out Hussein Ashkabov. This was the one lone loss that I had on this card. I had 3 official plays. I did throw a 3-unit play at Ashkabov. I was hearing rave reviews about this kid. I love the fact that he was training over at Tiger Muay Thai and American Top Team. He's bounced back and forth. He looks nasty on the pads. He's looked nasty in some of his fights, like obviously against a little bit of lower level competition, but he's really went out there and shined. I thought that he was going to go out here and just be a little bit too much for Emmers. We've seen Emmers drop the ball, but when he faces off against an aggressive fighter, and we know that Emmers has a nice jab. He does some of the technical things very well. He hasn't been active. He's been out of the octagon for a long time, and I stand behind the play. It is what it is. Of course, in retrospect, I should have stayed away from it. I should have seen Hussein prove himself a little bit more so over here, over in the octagon in the UFC. And but you know what? I was willing to take that chance based on the fact that I thought I was getting a decent line. Right, this fight was essentially a pick'em. So sometimes you got to jump the gun on some of these potentially promising fighters, right? Because he goes out there, he starches Emmers. What do you think that line's going to be in his next fight? You guys know how it goes with these types of fighters as they work their way into the UFC. Sometimes if you feel that you see some promise in these fighters, you do have to jump the gun a little bit if you want to get those solid lines there. And you know what? I take that L. But at the end of the day, we're going to bounce back big with 2 solid victories, including a massive or a big underdog play. So Mayra Bueno Silva takes out Lena Landsberg, pulls off the knee bar. Silva has been under the radar now for a couple of years. She's a very talented fighter. She's extremely well-rounded. I like the call-out that she had as well. She's calling for the big names. I like what I've seen from her. Nazim Sadyakov takes out Evan Elder via TKO, opened up a massive cut over Evan Elder's eye. That was a gruesome cut. If he would have took a couple more heavy shots to that eye, it could have been bad for him. But I will say this, Evan Elder did look good, and I think that his future is bright. I think he showed to be a very promising fighter as well. Nazim Sadyakov, a lot of people were giving Evan Elder that first round. I thought that Nazim potentially could have took that first round. I know it didn't play out as well early on for him, but he was landing the damaging shots, obviously, as he cut him open. I really like Nazim's style. I really like his style. The southpaw stance, cutting into the inside, throwing heavy shots, stuffing takedowns good, and he's well-rounded. I think the future is very bright for both of those fighters. And again, I threw a free play at you guys there, which is something you guys will see more of down the line. So hopefully you guys are catching those free plays. 5-unit play cashes on Nazim Sadyakov. A great way to kick off that new segment, throwing out those free plays to you guys here on the channel. Alexander Hernandez takes out Jim Miller. This was a very close fight. I thought it could have went either way, potentially. I think I kind of edged Jimbo here. I thought Jimbo probably should have got the nod. I was a little disappointed. Jim landed some very damaging shots throughout this fight. Showed the heart of a warrior like he always does. And Jim Miller is a future Hall of Famer, and we got to tip the hat to Jimbo there. And at the same time, Alex showed some heart in this fight, and it's good to see him, get a victory as well. It was much needed for his career. And we talked about how we're going to be doing some matchmaking for the main card. I know Alexander Hernandez technically wasn't on the main card; it was a 4-fight main card. But I'm doing some matchmaking for Alexander Hernandez here. I want to see him face off against Matt Frevola. I think that fight would make to be a very exciting one. I think it makes a lot of sense in the division right now, and you guys know that they're going to be going at it. So that's what I would like to see there. Marcin Prachnio defeats William Knight. William Knight most likely will never be fighting in the UFC again. What an absolute atrocious performance. No activity in there. And, he jumped right to Instagram and he had some thoughts or explanations on what happened. But he could say whatever he wants to say. At the end of the day, I don't think we'll see him fighting in the UFC again. That's how I feel about that. And I think you guys would all agree there. Marcin Prachnio, he is what he is. And you guys see who I want him to fight next. I would like to see him face off in a fight that I think would make to be an entertaining one against Ihor Potieria. Two fighters that need to prove themselves more so stylistically. I think that they would make to be an exciting clash there. So that's the fight that I would like to see. And then next we had Jamal Pogues taking out Josh Parisian via unanimous decision. Went out there, did his thing. And, give me Jamal and Muhammad Usman next, right? Muhammad Usman just had a big victory, winning the Ultimate Fighter finale. He still needs to gain some experience. Throw him in there with Pogues. I think that would make to be an exciting heavyweight match as well. Zach Payoga takes out Jordan Wright, goes out there. And I should just say real quick, as I glanced over the Jamal Josh fight, some people thought that Josh won that fight, and I thought that Josh kept that fight very, very close. So I'm sorry, I wanted to explain that as well, right? That was a close fight. And then as we move up to the Zach Payoga fight, he goes out there, gets the unanimous decision against Jordan Wright. Jordan Wright now probably going to be getting his walking papers as well. He's having a very tough time getting W's in the octagon. He's an exciting fighter. We love the fact that he has that martial arts background and he's willing to go out there and go out on his shield. But at the end of the day, you do have to get W's inside the octagon if you want to hang around. And I just don't think that that's going to be the case for him there. For Zach, I think a fight with Modestas Bukauskas, now that he's in the light heavyweight division, would make to be a good fight, and you let those fighters prove themselves even more so. And then we go to the main event, where you guys know I had an underdog play on Erin Blanchfield. This is a girl that I've felt that is going to be very, very good for a long time. I mean, really ever since that performance that she had against Miranda Maverick, I was a believer. I mean, for her to go out there and do what she did against Miranda Maverick, I'm a big fan of what Miranda brings to the table, and what Blanchfield did to her showcased to me that she's very legit with her grappling, and I instantly knew that she's going to be a major problem for a lot of women in the division, including Jessica Andrade, right? I mean, and you guys know Jessica is a girl that I have so much respect for. She's so well-rounded. Stylistically, this had the makings to be an extremely challenging fight for Erin Blanchfield. But at the end of the day, if you're going to give me a plus 160 betting line on Erin, I'm going to jump all over that. There's just no question about that. So, of course, that's what I did. I grabbed her at a plus 160 betting line nice and early. I threw 1 unit at it. I should have thrown more. But again, with the line like that, we profit 1.6 units on that main event play, which was great to bring in some more assets to the card. Another profitable event. And Erin Blanchfield now, she's calling for the winner of Shevchenko and Grasso. I'm not necessarily in agreement. I mean, it kind of depends on how this plays out, from a timing standpoint. But I would like to see Blanchfield face off with Talia Santos in a title eliminator match. Santos, if she wins that fight, of course, she's right in the mix for fighting for the belt again. I mean, a lot of people thought that she beat Shevchenko. So, if she goes out there and takes out Blanchfield, her stock is just as high as ever. Throw her right back in a title fight. And that's how I feel about the matchmaking there. I want to see Erin Blanchfield versus Talia Santos. Those are, without a doubt, 2 of the best flyweight female fighters on planet Earth. And, sneak peek, I would be edging Blanchfield there. I think there's real potential for Erin Blanchfield to be the women's flyweight champion within the calendar year of 2023. All right, guys, that's going to be the recap of UFC Vegas 69. We had some Ultimate Fighter talk there as well. You guys, understand, if you see any mishaps here with these videos, understand that I'm using a new program, and there's a lot of new things going on here behind the scenes. There's a lot of new moving parts, but I really hope that you guys enjoyed the new setup, and I think that these videos are making to be much more entertaining like this, but you're going to see these videos get refined and be a little bit smoother week to week. But again, I think that this style here for the recaps are more exciting, a little bit quicker to the punch, you know, rather than just going through the entire card, pulling up the Tapology rankings. But you guys let me know. Maybe if you guys want, I could pull up the Tapology rankings for the main card fighters, or you know, if there's anything you guys can think of, comment below. You know, I'm excited for what's to come here with the channel. And as I promised you guys, we would have these improvements coming. So thank you guys. Please hit that like button. Subscribe if you guys aren't already. You're going to have a lot of content thrown your way if you're subscribed to the channel here at MMA FT headquarters. So, all right, guys, we'll have a future prediction video coming to you here very shortly. Signing out. Teller.
Welcome to the show. This is the MMA fortune teller. Yeah.
The MMA fortune teller.
The teller.